and like, you're too noisy. And like, I said, you don't have to be around me.
Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on a superficial basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
you have to.
In order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of
the children. Hello viewers, welcome again to our family show, The Living Room, right here on Equa Television International. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and today we'll be doing reflections on our Equa Women's Week of Prayer that we just had. Many years it's been coming, going, but we haven't really been talking about it, and we decided that we need to be reflecting on what we have done so that people are more aware about the fellowship, and those who are not part of it will be encouraged to join. So with me to discuss this, or to have these reflections on this year's week of prayer, we have some powerful women here who are powerful members of the Women's Fellowship of Equa. And well, when they talk, you see how powerful they are. We have Rifkatu, Mrs. Rifkatu Lana, here with us. Rifkatu, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, and Mrs. Wendy James.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you, ladies, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us to discuss what has happened in this, our last Equa Women's Week of Prayer. So maybe we'll start with you, Rifkatu. When they're saying Equa Women's Week of Prayer, what does it mean? Is it that people are praying every day? What happens?
Okay, the Equa Women Fellowship Week of Prayer internationally for this year still goes with the theme of waiting for the appointed time, Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. And it is a yearly event, and where the women gather and take 1 week to pray, to visit, sing together, and fellowship with one another and encourage one another in the fellowship. It's a kind of a fellowship that brings us together.
Okay.
And a week that has been given to us by the Equa, that we should work with that week as our Women Fellowship Week of Prayer.
Okay. So since you say it's international, it means
everywhere.
all the Equa women
everywhere. And I love what is happening. I like in this year's week of prayer. Some of my friends that have traveled abroad, they wore the uniform, and they were showing it our week.
They wore the uniform abroad. Where did they wear it? Did they wear it to work or?
They wore it to church because to church, and they took pictures and they were posting. It was kind of beautiful.
Okay, so it's to show that we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, Wendy, how do you see the Equa Women's Week of Prayer?
Just like Mom here have said, that it is called a Women Week of Prayer because it involves several activities. Like the visitation, you find out that in all these departments, none of it will take place without having to pray. So I think that's why it is called the Women Week of Prayer, which is done internationally.
Okay, great. So, this last one that just passed, how do you see it? What was your experience in this last Women's Week of Prayer that just...
Okay, for the last Women Fellowship Week of Prayer International, the Bible study was key. As in, the Bible study was talking about the noble woman, Proverbs 31. Yeah, and there was a scenario in the Bible study one talking about one Chinyere that had issues. And I think the Bible study was key to me for this year. And when I went to work, one of my colleagues at work came and was saying that, wow, they should have involved the men inside that week of prayer so that they will listen to that particular wise woman that was talking. Because they talked about what a woman can do, that the wise woman would do no harm to her husband, talking about the woman doing no harm to her husband, to her family, and it was key. And they brought questions that it was a two-way thing, at least let the man hear, so that the woman too will be able to know where, that if they collaborate together, the family will be great. And with the situation that is happening in Nigeria, we need each other.
Okay, so why didn't they invite the men now?
They are invited. Usually they are invited, but the men don't usually come.
Yeah, men don't usually come for programs. But the Bible study in our own church, they said it was only for women. That's what they said.
Yes.
And they said women only. So why do you think they didn't ask the men to come?
No, they wanted the women to learn first, so that you will be effective at your home.
But me, I have my own suspicions. Because they shared refreshments, maybe they didn't want the men to join the refreshment, or maybe the refreshment would not be enough to go around.
Yeah, possibly, but that's not the reason. I think the focus was on the women first. Let's talk to ourselves. Let's see how we can help our family. Let's see what we can do as women, talking to each other, at least without the men there, talking to each other, so that we help each other grow in our Christian life.
Okay, maybe let's look a little more about that Bible study. Maybe Wendy, what were the other things that you got from the Bible study from that Women's Week of Prayer?
Thank you. That was very key too to me. You said, why were the men not invited? I felt the men shouldn't have been invited for that, because it was a story about Chinyere and her friend, who her husband has been faithful, but because the friend is a negative friend, just came and put an idea in her that, see, if you don't do this, your husband, who you are thinking is faithful, might end up not being faithful. So the friend took her to a wrong place, which she named a prophet that was supposed to pray for her. But at the end of the day, Chinyere ended up being a victim to the prophet, which was a fake prophet, so to say. So imagine if women will be encouraged to pray, not to be taking their issues. And we have a lot of women that have been falling victim of that. They will tell you, where you are is not okay. Just go somewhere and find people. Others call them prayer machines. Others call them prayer ventures and all that. They have named them all sorts of names. But that is actually wrong. Where God has placed you as a woman, you can pray to whatsoever issue. God can hear you. So imagine what Chinyere ended up being herself into if she had not listened to the friend. And I was like, is this a movie or is happening real? It's happening. So many women had those issues. And to use this as an example of a recent just before that week of prayer, I had a neighbor who has been having issues, spiritual issues. And the first place they took them, their minds were poisoned. That one of her daughter is into something, and that was how they kept on going to different places. So sad that at the end of the day, the woman lost her life. Nobody knew what really went wrong. Others were accusing the girl. Others were saying it was her in-laws. And I believe if she had sat down in her church, in her local assembly, meeting women, especially in women fellowship, to pray with her, that issue would have been solved. So I want to say that at the end of the day, maybe she was end up being confused by the different houses of prayer she has involved herself. So that topic on Friday was very key to me, and I learned a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Rifkatu, you're nodding your head that yes, that is not a movie, that is really practical.
It's happening.
Why do you say that?
It is happening because women were full of emotions, and most women, once your husband, whether he's talking to a lady in the office, you suspect, why is he doing like that? We read between the lines. So whether it's true, instead of us to confront, we will not be able to confront. We don't talk openly with our husband. We bottle it in and causing suspicion. But I think the week has given us opportunity to pray, that no matter what it is, pray. because we know prayer is the key. And that is what we are supposed to be doing as women,
Pray.
standing in the gap.
Okay. So what other activities did maybe in your local assembly or in other groups, what other activities did women carry out?
Well, the visitation was key. For our own local church, we went to Jankwano, visited women in the VVF Center, and visited some women in the wards, and ended up visiting women in pro-life. And I think it was meaningful that at least as women we'll be able to touch life and pray with those that are in the hospital. It was key to me, praying for those that are sick. We've been praying for those that are sick in our virus homes, but at least this one,
You met them one-on-one.
one-on-one, and we're able to pray, share prayer items and pray. And that is also key and highlight of the Women Fellowship Week of prayer for me.
Okay. Wendy.
Yeah, to add to that, the pro-life department really touched me because you find out that it was young women who have been either molested or got pregnant, and their parents decided to deny them, send them out of the house. Maybe to them, the ladies did it intentionally, but some is not actually intentionally. So imagine if Jankwano would have not accepted those people to even give them a place to stay. Some would have ended up committing suicide. I was very touched the day we went for that department. And the first department which he talks about, yes, and those are the ones that consist of the molestation. I found out that some of them were very young, and only God knows what went wrong. So you won't be in that kind of place and you will not be touched. And I want to believe that some of them were encouraged by our visits. At the end of the day, we didn't just pray with them. The Equal Women EPC were able to get some items for them. That will go a long way by encouraging them, giving them hope to at least not being worried of what they are facing. That alone went a long way, and I was touched by that.
Yeah, I thought, did you cry?
Yes, at the pro-life department.
You cried?
Yes, I hid. Nobody knew I cried, but I cried this kind of deep cry. Yes.
Okay. So is it going to change the way you do things or the way you advise people?
Yes.
Or what's changing for you?
Should I say fortunately or fortunately? I'm not having girls in my children. They are all boys. But from that department, I started thinking of ways of how I'm going to raise my male children, because those ones were females. But who got the females into that position? It is the males. So I had already started thinking of ways and trusting God for wisdom on how to make them behave well, so that at the end of the day they will not put any kind of girl into that kind of situation. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, what else did you do?
Well,
Week of prayer.
for the week of prayer, we also had a small fellowship that was only for women, so that we discussed our issues and the refreshment was. And this singing was key to me. We were able to practice, though I didn't go for most of the practice, but at least the song.
You are very busy.
Yes, but the songs were very meaningful and they touched the heart. At least we were able to sing on Sunday. In my church, Women Fellowship don't used to sing on Sunday.
So
but at least
that's
Sunday
the opportunity for Women Fellowship to sing. Okay.
March in and sing in our beautiful uniform. So
the focus is on women for that day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then the preacher for that Sunday was able to give her own life experience, the challenges that women are facing, especially for those women that are not staying with their husband in the same city. The temptation out there for the men is high. And
is the temptation only for the men?
Both for them. But at least women can have some kind of small, not all, self-control concerning that. But and at least she gave real life situation that was impactful. Being able to go above that, living with an unfaithful husband, even going after that being able to stay and bring her family close, being to even intercede on behalf of her husband, because his office was a sensitive office where he works, and he was able to stand in the gap to pray concerning his work, and he was able to finish his work successfully. They said the end of the matter is better than the beginning. At least he ended well and retired without any indictment from his
Office.
from the office, which was key. So as women also, we are encouraged to uphold our husbands. The battle is there for them. Most of us are at home as women, so they are the ones that are facing the dangers. If there is crisis now, it's the men that they will kill. But as women, as we are back there in the home, we uphold them in prayer that God should protect them, even as they go and come out. That too was key to me and was touching. And just as Wendy said, for that women, that young girls, at least if you see any young girl in that position, you'll be able to refer her to Jankwano so that they'll be able to help her.
Yeah.
If you can't help her,
Okay.
if you can't help her, fine. If you can't help her, you can send her there.
Okay. So still on that. So just saying, for anybody, if you know any girl who has a pregnancy out of wedlock, and instead of her aborting the pregnancy or not knowing what to do, Jankwano, or now known as Bingham University Teaching Hospital, has a pro-life unit to support and help these girls. So if you have somebody like that, please refer them to that place. They will get the kind of help that they need in the midst of the problems and challenges they are going through. Okay, back to our... So Wendy, how did you find your Sunday roundup? Was that Sunday service?
Yes.
Was very nice and sweet. The speaker said something. I will still refer back to that Chinyere story. She said there was something she was facing in her marriage. I didn't hear her say she took the matter to a prayer house somewhere. She said she knelt and she kept praying, and by the grace of God, that thing, God has taken it away. So I learned from that whatsoever thing I face, even as an equal woman, I should be able to tell God directly. I don't need to go round and round looking for who to pray for me. Yes, in my local church, I can trust somebody that we can pray together, but it shouldn't be outside the church completely, because that can endanger your life and even the life of the family. So that was key to me.
So what it's saying is, be careful where you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it means that every person is bad who wants to pray along, but be careful, and women, shine your eye very well, because apparently we're easily deceived and we get carried away.
Yes.
Okay, what of your roundup at LCC?
LCC.
Did you do roundup?
Yes, we did. That took place on Saturday.
Me, I didn't go, so
6 o'clock.
okay.
Took
So
place 8 o'clock in the morning. The turn-up was not that encouraging. You know, this is weddings.
it's wedding period,
season,
and
so
8 o'clock is
maybe
a bit early on a Saturday when
yes,
women
I want
are...
to believe that was the reason, but it was impactful too. And I was there live when Mrs. Abigail Abuki gave the message. And one of the key words she stressed on was to trust God and to believe God in whatsoever situation we face ourselves. And there was something again she said. She said, when somebody render you a help, it doesn't mean he has it. With the situation of Nigeria now, everybody is facing it. So if I give you 1,000 naira, don't look at me as somebody who is rich. I just have a mind of sacrifice, a mind of help. So, but a lot of people, sometimes when I've found myself in that kind of situation, that when somebody render, this person is rich. But she made it clear to me that no, it's not as if the person is rich. The person just has
willing
a mind
to make some sacrifice.
Yes.
Okay. So that we don't have entitlement
Yes.
mentality.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You, did you go for the...
Well, I didn't go. I didn't go for the roundup, for the LCC roundup. I was held up at work. But just to add to what Wendy had said concerning the preacher on Sunday in our church, she talked about her challenges. She had health challenges, and she was going for surgery. And they said, "Don't go." I think and she said last she went and she came out. You know, the fear of going for surgery and dying for most women is there, especially when it comes to labor and delivery. When they say they want to do, Maka is the professor in gynecology. She knows what they face to encourage women to come for a cesarean session. The woman will not agree. They will, instead of,
it's not their portion.
yes, it's not their patient. They will deliver like the Hebrew women, whatsoever. But at least, at last, she said she had the surgery and it was successful. And some people came and encouraged her, and she had the surgery, and it was successful. So that too is key. As you're having health challenges, whatever it is, at least it's good to go and seek proper help from the hospital. Then add it with the prayer. At least God is using people to help people. So add it with the prayer and God will see you through. You know, we have the times now are hard. It's not easy to go to hospital, especially Jude. If you go to hospital now, everything to 1 mil of syringe you must buy.
Everything is expensive.
And everything is expensive. But at least we should go. Once we are having one health challenge, go and seek the medical advice, at least, and then back it up with the prayer. God is always there. He listens, and He hears.
So apparently, there were a lot of lessons learned during this week of prayer, from the Bible study to having to pray about every program, to the DCC or LCC roundup. Not DCC roundup. It's LCC roundup at the various, and I'm sure women in different churches also had something to say about the benefits that they got from the Women's Week of Prayer. Okay, since we've talked so much about Women's Week of Prayer, now let's dive into the Women's Fellowship itself. Let's dive into the Women's Fellowship itself. But we'll go on break, and when we come back from the break, we'll continue this conversation on Women's Fellowship proper, as as the base where the Women's Fellowship Week of Prayer comes from. So viewers, please don't touch that dial. We'll be right here after the break to continue talking about Women's Fellowship of ECWA. So see you after the break. Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program, The Living Room, right here on ECWA TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children's mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions. We want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room. Hello viewers, welcome back from the break, and thank you for not touching that dial. We are here at the living room of ECWA Television International talking about the Women's Week of Prayer. We're actually reflecting on the last ECWA Women's Week of Prayer, and we've heard a number of things here. I've been here with Mrs. Rifka Tulana and Mrs. Wendy James, and they've been sharing about the things that they learned during the Women's Week of Prayer. And from what they have said, it's clear that the Women's Fellowship is a good place to be. The Women's Fellowship is a good place to be. So I said after the break, we'll dive into Women's Fellowship and talk about Women's Fellowship. So Rifkatu, let's start with you. So, why do you think the Women's Fellowship is important?
For me, as a married woman, it's important that you join the Women Fellowship. From my background, I grew up. My mom, when I was in from 4, I lost my mom, so I don't have a mom. But and I married immediately, so you can imagine just jumping into marriage immediately without a mom to tell you what and what you need to do. I found it necessary to join the Women Fellowship because there I will know about what is expected of me as a wife and as a mother in the home, how to bring up the children. So I would say Women Fellowship is key and is important. Forget about what people are saying about the Women Fellowship. It's not all that. There are many things you will learn in the Women Fellowship. You will learn how to speak to other people in Women Fellowship. They will teach you how to run your homes based on Christian principles and truth. They will even tell you about you, and you will see other women that may be passing. You may think it's only you that you are passing through some situations, some challenges that you find in the marriage home, but you'll see 1 or 2 people that will encourage you, joining it with prayer. And I think I encourage every woman, every married woman, to join the Women Fellowship, including the single ones too, hoping to marry. I think they should join the Women Fellowship.
There's a lot to learn.
There's a lot to learn.
Okay, Wendy, what do you think?
I also have similar. Growing up, I told myself, this is the last group I will join when I get married.
Why did you think so? They were very boring or what?
Yes, like the one I was looking around, some of them were quite discouraging. I remember I could hear some of them being called Mata Mugunta. I'm sorry to say that. So growing up, I had the wrong
Wicked women.
women.
Okay.
So growing up, I was like, the last group was the church where I worshipped before. I was a member in the band. So I was like, if I should marry in a church that I'm not up to the tax of that band, I will end up in maybe choir. Unfortunately, I've never had experience. So until one day I visited the Women Fellowship, not knowing that I will remain there. But the things I had that day blew my head that I couldn't help it but to keep coming. And I remember there was this day they were about to round up for the whole year, and that day was set for Thanksgiving and experience that you've had. And sharing my own that day, I busted into tears. And the woman walked up to me and said, "Would you like to share?" And I said, "Yes." From that day, I became in love with Women Fellowship. And I'm not looking back to withdraw for any reason, because it's teaching me how to apply wisdom into talking to my children and even my husband. Before then, it wasn't like this. So I don't see why a woman that is married, if you don't join the Women Fellowship, where would you now join? Would you join the youth? What would they tell you? They are not married. So it's very important that married women should join the Women Fellowship. Yes, because I'm there already and I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Okay. Before we go to more details about Women's Fellowship, so Rifkatu, maybe you share how you joined the Women's Fellowship. You just came and you said, "Okay, I'm joining people." Okay.
No, not really. I do. After I got married, and I have some few challenges. Excuse me. Then I said, "Kai, let me join this Women Fellowship." So I went to the fellowship, just as Wendy said. I went to the fellowship. I met them. They were just singing. That time, the day I went, there was no any special program, but it was singing. I got interested. I said, even the singing, at least I'm unwinding. It is reducing the tension from the home for me. So at least the singing was okay. It was good for me that day. At least I was able to sing with them. Then after that, I found myself still coming back for the women's show because I really need to know. I was young. I could not speak to people. I don't know how to speak to people very well without being rude and other things. At least I don't know how to tie my
Gele.
my gele. I don't know how to tie my wrapper. Is one was going like this, was going like this. But at least in the women fellowship, those are practical things that you will be taught how to do, how to tie your gele, how to dress properly and modestly in the women fellowship without exposing your body and many other things also in the women fellowship that we have gone apart from the talks that people individual comes to speak on issues concerning real life issues, not issues in but real life issues, what is happening. That is key. And being able to share with one or two people and say, pray for me for this. And not even that testimony that people will come and testify that God has, they brought this as a prayer request and God answered. So those are encouraging things for you to be part of the women fellowship.
Wendy, how did you join? I know you already said you came for one program. So is it that you just started coming?
Yes, I remember. I don't know, her name has escaped, but she invited me once. Aren't you coming to join the women fellowship? I told her yes, I will. She said, if you don't join now, when Mary started teaching you sense, you will join by force. That she did the same, she was having the same kind of mentality, but how she joined, she cannot even explain. So that was how I found myself in one of that particular fellowship that very day. And I never stopped coming.
So what have you gained from being a member of the Women's Fellowship?
Oh God. Plenty.
All right, let's start hearing
So
some
many.
of them.
The favors, the wisdom on how to talk. I teach now. Before I started teaching, I didn't know how to talk to my children. Anything they do, I would just slap or shout. But the teaching and the women fellowship will tell you no. It is not just shouting. In short, shouting itself is a stress. Even though I've not really overcome the stress, the shouting completely, but I'm on maybe 60% now. And it's the women fellowship, it's in the women fellowship that I'm learning all of those things. So, and one of the things that I got discouraged, one of the reasons why I said I was not going to join was because of the dues and some little contributions waiting. So I was like, I don't have money. If I should join this group, how will I cope? But like the clothes I wore, somebody just favored me and said, take. That's the uniform.
Okay.
Yes, and so at the end of the day, the mentality I entered with was not even what I'm thinking. You can serve God without money, but when you have, give. So that's what has been happening to me in this.
So how have you coped with the dues?
Yes, I've been coping.
The dues has not driven you away.
Mm-mm.
And they won't drive you away if you're not able
even
to
if
pay
you
the
don't
dues.
pay,
You can. They'll tell you can pay little by little.
But the dues from your own point of view, is it plenty?
No, it's not plenty at all.
Please tell them how much.
It's not. It's just 4,000. If not this year, that it became
4,000 for
five.
for. Is it a month?
Yeah,
For the whole year.
I want you to say that for the whole year.
4,000 for the whole year.
Okay.
And this is something we spend more than that even in a month. So it's something you can pay little by little. And by God's grace, as if I've cleared this year's own, I'm not owing. But I'm not sure if other years I've cleared, but this particular year, I'm sure that I've cleared. It's God that I've done it.
Okay. So it's why I just wanted you to talk about the dues so that people will know that it's not burdensome.
No, it's not burdensome.
So heavy
at all.
for you to bear.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not at all.
Okay. So what are some of the other things that we learned from Women's Fellowship? Me, I have a retinue of things, but I want people to share the other things. We've talked about how to dress, how to talk to people, how to talk to your husband, the socializing, the singing, how to raise your children. What are the other things that they teach
There
us?
are many other things that is being taught. How to even give to the less privileged. Like in the Women Fellowship, we have the EMS that are attached to the Women Fellowship, how to
support missionaries.
Support missionary. Those are part of the things they will teach you in the Women Fellowship. You have to support missionary. And how to even go out for evangelism. especially for the younger women that are just, it's not easy to come out, younger Christians coming out and speaking about Jesus Christ. So can they teach you how to evangelize so that
I will go for practical.
one-on-one, and usually goes for practical, and they put you to be able to speak to one or two person. That too is key for a Christian woman that is coming up, and how to train your children also, how to train your children to be able to train them very well, doing the altar, burning the altar in the morning or in the evening, depending on how your work schedule is. At least gathering the children in the evening and praying together as a family is also being taught in the women for how to even cook some different
dishes.
They will tell you how to cook.
And practical.
And
I like the
practical
tasting.
is the
I
testing.
like the tasting.
They will teach you how to do those other things. And just as Wendy said, they will not force you on the dues like that, but at least they will mention it. Most younger women will say the dues is driving them. The dues
It's not much.
it's not much.
5,000 a year is not.
It's not much, but it's not that, women fellowship, they say give this today, give that tomorrow. Even that, I'll say, if you don't have, God knows that you don't have.
You do what
So
you can.
that is not a reason for you to stop coming. So you still come for fellowship, you will see the need. And the support they give when there is a bereavement or a sickness in the home. The women fellowship will just gather around you, and you will say, wow. So people can sacrifice for your sake like that. So that too, the fellowship is key. And most importantly, if you are in a community, in a church setting, you need to identify with one particular group. It's important for your Christian life. I'll say that. Very important to your Christian life. Let's know that this is what you do. This is what you can do. And what can you bring? Those people that are saying they don't want to come to the fellowship because of, come and change us in the women fellowship.
If there's a problem.
Yes.
So what are the other things you've learned? I know you've talked about not shouting on your children again. Children, they've talked about how to raise children discipline. So in addition to some of the things that Rifkato has mentioned.
2 more things out of many. The cooking aspect. And they don't just teach us how to cook. They bring it out practically, the recipes. Some of those recipes, if you want them going online, you will need data. But this one, they give us freely, and they even teach us how to read. There are some dishes that you've never thought of how they are being cooked. In the women fellowship where I attend, they do that. And dressing also. You find out that our men today, one of the excuses they usually have is, my woman doesn't know how to dress. In this very women fellowship, the one I attend, I remember mommy, I've forgotten her name. She told me how to tie a wrapper. I didn't know how to. She said, open your legs, and then, yes, practically. And from that day, I have known how to tie a wrapper and how to dress. Like, especially as a young woman, you can't just come out anyhow. There's a way you should dress and let your husband at least say you are looking good. Even if he doesn't say it, come out as in boldly, because you know that you are dressed properly. Don't dress shabbily, and at the end your husband will want to cite somebody outside and you begin to push blames. That's one of the reasons why some men do that, is because even you as a woman is unkept. So in the village where I attend, they teach us how to keep ourselves health-wise and yes, our neatness, personal hygiene. Thank you. So that alone has been helping me, and I've been applying it, and it's working for me. Even when I was coming out, I asked my husband, how about this hair tie? And he said, it's not as if it's good at hair tie, but he feels it's good.
Yes, I think in fellowship they also teach how to tie.
How to tie hair
tie.
So these little things that we feel sometimes don't count, they affect in our marriage. Is that negatively or positively?
I think I also like, aside from many of the things you mentioned, the fact that you just come together with other women. So you have something, you share things in common. So you know that certain things you are passing through is not only you.
Yes.
You see other people.
Yes.
And sometimes for myself, it's just to come and laugh and just make noise with some other women. I think it brings down tension. It brings down tension and helps you to relax a bit, and you make new friends
Yes.
in the women's fellowship. I think I made friends. It's a women's fellowship that I made plenty friends. And my circle of friends now increased from the women's fellowship. Then the issue of Bible study. We do Bible studies, and people are thrust with the responsibility of leading Bible studies. So you must learn how to lead. So that's giving us different responsibilities. People are given different responsibilities. So you must learn how to do something. And you cannot just sit in the fellowship and be quiet. Suddenly you see your name on the list. You are supposed to lead. You are supposed to do something. So I think it encourages us, gives us boldness to be able to stand, talk, lead, and sometimes you even discover some of your gifts and talents that
You have touched me in short.
Eh?
You have touched me. Because before now, I'm somebody that if I'm in a place, I don't even want anybody to observe whether I'm there. But in the fellowship, it has grown me on how to even talk. Or
and we now know you.
Yes, people now know me. I was just imagining what happened on Sunday when Auntie Ineka said you are going to lead. I shouted, Jesus. She said, no, we are praying for you. Don't worry. The day before the Sunday, I wanted to call and say, Ma, I'm not sure if I can do it. My husband just said, no, don't worry, you can do it. That was what encouraged me.
And you did well.
I don't know whether I did well,
You
but
did
at
well.
the end of the day, I had to come out. So they have a way of, as in bringing somebody up, and I will never take that for granted. Even my being here, it's an honor. I feel like.
We thank God. So, what are some of the reasons women give for not wanting to attend fellowship? I know you've raised one.
Yes.
The issue of dues. What else?
The other one, most women will say their children, they have small children. I usually want we encourage them with the older women, bring the children, we will carry them for you.
Yeah, when my kids were small, I used to
We'll
come
carry
for
them with
fellowship
you.
with my children.
Yes.
Sometimes when I pick them from school, we go
Straight.
for women's fellowship.
That isn't their homework. It's not that easy.
And they'll be doing it at the back of
They'll
the
be
church.
doing
That's how
it,
I used to do.
yes,
They will
yes.
sit at the back in church. They'll be doing the homework. We are doing fellowship. And women's fellowship doesn't stay long.
Yes.
We don't
1
stay long.
hour.
It's 1 hour.
Yes.
It's 1 hour.
And
We
it's
try to
once
say-
in a week.
Yeah, once in a week. So they stay at the back and do the homework. And then when we go home, we complete
The other ones.
whatever is left. In the homework. What are some of the reasons, aside from Jews? They say they don't have time. Okay, you mentioned that.
The issue of children, for most of them, they don't want. Then the issue of the women fellowship not carrying the younger women alone. At least, but from my women fellowship now, that has been settled. Most of the time, they give responsibility also to the younger women. And I think we teach each other. Let the younger woman come and teach the older woman, so that the older woman too can have opportunity to teach the younger women. If they don't come to fellowship, how will we teach them if they are at their homes? But once they come for fellowship, we'll be able to teach them just as we learn from them. The Bible said, iron sharpened iron. So let's come together and sharpen each other. But those are some of the reasons. But I think mostly I say when there is a will, there is always a way. It's just for the women to be committed. Once you're committed to something, and just as some of the younger women will say they're in girls' brigade, I say that's girls. They say. Come to the women fellowship. At
Yes.
least go.
Somebody has complained to me about the uniform, that she can never wear that uniform that we're wearing. So, is there a way you can make this uniform so that the young girls,
Can
the
wear
young
it.
ladies will like it? They said that somebody told me, God forbid, she can never wear that uniform.
Yeah, I even thought the reason why some of them are not joining is because of the uniform. Because it's becoming very expensive these days.
Okay, is it the cost of the uniform?
It's not
or
the
the
Yes,
price?
some is the cost, and me in particular, I have problem with especially that one that you have to use t-shirts. I would like the buba part of it, but anything aside the buba, you now bring white blouse and t-shirt, 2 wrappers.
Yeah, it's not. That one is not.
Let's just go with the buba. All the uniforms should just go
The
with the
buba.
buba.
Okay.
That's our own take. Some people feel that wearing 1 wrapper for a married woman is not. You must wear that 2 wrappers. So there has to be a balance.
But
But
it depends on where you're coming
depend from where
Yoruba
you're coming. If you're
people
calling
tie buba now,
buba,
and it's
Yoruba,
okay for them.
yes. The Igbo people want two wrapper. You cannot wear one single
But
wrapper.
many even younger, but even the Igbo people, young girls now, the people don't want to tie two wrapper.
They don't want
In
to
short,
tie.
Yes,
sometimes when you
that's
see
two
them,
wrapper.
they sew long skirts
Yes.
and then tie up on top. I even saw one. It was a dress and then
A wrapper.
another. It wasn't even a wrapper. They did something on top. When you see it, you think it's
It's a
wrapper,
wrapper,
but it's,
but it's
everything
not
was
wrapper.
one gown that they did. You know, so because it's like the younger people don't want to.
They
have
don't want
anything
to do with.
double
But
wrapper.
I think that would not. Even if you come, you have the wrapper. We will not put a rug on your leg that you must tie it.
Somebody said
You
that they
must
should
not.
allow them to sew any style that they like.
No, if you allow, it's not uniform again now. If you know, we see crazy style. It's not uniform again.
So
So
that they should allow them,
and since it's a uniform, just enjoy it. Me, I
and
feel-
it's not every day.
and it's not every day. And the day you don't feel like wearing it, just leave it. But at least it kind of brings a sense of belonging, especially during the week of prayer, that they wear it throughout the week.
Yeah.
At least shows that something is happening. Why are these women wearing this clothes? I think it's not bad. They should.
The issue of the any style might not work because the way they print it, if they now allow you to do any style and the name
You
instead
turn
of
it
turn
up-
upside down,
People will find a way now.
Oh,
to
they
do
will
it.
always
Tailors
find
will
a
find-
way.
They will
Always
always
their own
find.
style. So how will you encourage younger women? I know it's only younger women who refuse to come, but many of them who don't join are usually younger women, but there are older women too who don't come. What will you tell younger women?
just like the kind of mentality I was having. If I had not gone, I would not see. Just come.
and see.
Just come and
Come and
see.
see.
If you're not okay,
Then
you can go. Just come first. See.
Okay.
That's a nice one.
Yes. So
Yeah, I think-
what of the older women who are not coming?
The
What are
old-
their reasons? The older ones now.
The older women may be either time or something, but most of them are coming. But we should also encourage them to all come. And I told one woman, one older woman, I said, no, they am old too. But I told one that is older, far older than me. I told her, I said, at least when we see you in the fellowship, we feel encouraged that there are people. But when we don't see you, we feel as if we are left alone. So that's stuck to her, and she said, "Why did I say that?" I said, I just feel that when I see you coming for fellowship, I say, if Mama will come for fellowship, what am I doing? I will come. So let the older women also come, so that when our children see us going, they too
We encourage
will be
to come.
encouraged to come.
Yes, one other thing that we hadn't. They say wherever women gather, that is
Yes,
gossip,
women.
is they are jealous, and they be doing competition. So with one another, trying to outdo the other person, outdress the other person, or outshow the other person. In your own experience with women fellowship, are these allegations, or if I would call them that, are they true? Have you seen?
They are true. For some reasons, they are true. Because I see women talking about other women, especially if you pass. They will say, "Is it not? I see this leader. Is it not leader? We must do this leadership." And it baffles me to say, why will you be saying that kind of a thing? So, but I think it's just the level of understanding and the relationship you have between Christ, your personal relationship with Christ. That should not be a reason. You are not going to the women fellowship for the leader or for anybody. You're going for yourself. And since you have a focus and you know what you want to go and take that what you want and go. Forget about the other things. Of course, there are other women that must say something. As women, we must see and say, didn't you see? Didn't you see this?
Okay.
But at least come with your mind open and be able to learn. Forget about what
other people are
I
saying.
say. But they are rare.
But anyway,
Good
whether in
example.
fellowship or not,
In
people
church.
must talk.
Yes.
Yeah. So Wendy, what's your own experience
That
about
was what I wanted to add. What she said is very quite correct. Before even joining the EPC, I've had series of complaints. This big men's church, how sure are you that if you go, I said I'm not going because of that. And one of the things that have helped me, I've been involved in groups that they don't even want you to see, and if anything like that, I don't dispute the fact that it's not going. For me, I am not seeing that because I'm only going to see Jesus, and that thing has been helping me. I don't know if there are people that used to look down on me but I've not experienced that.
And you don't care.
I don't even care. That's what has been keeping me. And I have found out that these people that we usually say they are rich, once after the fellowship or church, they will be the ones to come and rob you. How are you doing? Even the people that don't even have anything, they are the ones that usually want to raise their shoulders. But for now, I've not experienced that. Rather, those people that you feel they are higher than you, you don't have anything, they are the ones robbing my back. So I don't want to see anything of that. I'm not saying it's not existing, but for me, I've not
experienced it. And I think the thing to say is like even the general church fellowship.
Yes.
People say that church is like hospital. It's sick people that come to hospital. So it's people who have been saved, sinners who have been saved, who come to church. And they say in hospital that there are some people who are not responding to treatment.
So they respond being
so they'll continue to cause trouble for you,
yes.
even in the church. So we have mixed multitude. But as you said, everybody should focus on what they came to do and do it. Learn what they are supposed to learn, achieve what they are supposed to achieve, and grow as women. Okay, I think we're supposed to be wrapping up. Rifkato and Wendy, thank you so much for coming. But we'll take last words from you before we wrap up. On Women's Fellowship, what do you want to tell our women out there about Women's Fellowship?
I would still say that they should come. People should come for Women's Fellowship. Come and encourage us. Come, let us encourage you also. It's a two-way thing. So come. And just as Amaka has said, come and let us transform. Let's be transformed together. Come, let us be transformed together. Thank you.
To add, is it that you like singing and you feel they don't sing in Women's Fellowship? We sing very well. Just come. In all the sections in Women's Fellowship, you will like it. Just come.
Okay. So women, we have heard though, come for Women's Fellowship. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to gain. I personally, I testify to that I've learned a lot from Women's Fellowship. And also the men out there, encourage your wives to come. I know now people may be complaining of cost of transportation, different things, but you can make it easier for your wife to come. If it's because of the children, at least for that day, you can hold the children for 1 hour and let your wife come for the fellowship, because there's always benefits. You yourself will feel it at home, what your wife is learning in the fellowship. So let's encourage our wives. Let's buy them the uniform. Let's give them money to pay their dues and encourage them to come for fellowship. The home will be better off for it if your wives are involved in the Women's Fellowship. So viewers, thank you so much for staying with us to the very end as we have reflected on the Women's Week of Prayer and also the issues of Women's Fellowship. And we look forward to more women joining our Women's Fellowships all across. And Rifkato has told us that it's global, it's international. So Equa Women's Fellowship is everywhere in the world. I don't know whether they are in China, but they are in places. So look for them, the church where you are, join the Women's Fellowship, and you'll be blessed for it. So thank you so much for sticking with us to the very end. God bless you until we come your way again next time. Same place, the living room at Equa Television. We look forward to seeing you. God bless you and keep shining for Jesus. Bye.